Get Pucked.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Get Pucked podcast. Dave, Vito, and Matt here. Gentlemen, how you doing?
Hey, okay.
Fantastic.
Fantastic as always. Double thumbs up as always. Wonderful. Well, let's get right into some hockey, shall we? Couple of days ago, I think by this point, maybe a week ago or so. Anyways, the NHL has been going through the list of teams and putting together like two lineups, two starting five and a goalie for each team in the NHL that comprises of the best players from that team over the last 25 years. I'm sure many people listening have seen this. They've been going through all the teams. It's been kind of fun watching, and they finally got to the Habs a little while ago. And so while this was an interesting thing as it came up, it was a little bit of a, I don't want to say a hot topic a couple days ago, but people had opinions. And since we haven't had the chance to get together for a bit, I wanted to ask you guys. So here's the team in case if you need a reminder, or for those listening, in case you for some reason haven't seen this. It's either the NHL or it's the Montreal Canadiens. I'm not entirely sure who put together the team, but it was published by the Habs Twitter account, X account, whatever. So take it for what it's worth. The first team is Koivu, Kovalev, and Plekanec as your forwards. You have Weber and Markov as your defensemen, and Carey Price as your goalie. Let you digest that for a second. The second team is Gallagher, Pacioretty, and Suzuki, PK Subban, Surrey, and Jose Theodore as the goalie. So, right out the gate, do you have any feelings one way or another about this? Does a name on either of the teams stand out to you, either in the wrong place? Should one be moved to team one and one moved to team two? Should they be taken out entirely? Are we missing players? What's your take? I'm curious.
I mean, for the sake of all the stories and rumors that were out there, I'm not so sure the Gallagher and Subban being on the same team would work out very well if they were going to compete against another team. But, I mean, it's the quarter century. So, yeah, it makes sense who they have up there. Those were probably the bigger contributors to the Habs over the last 25 years, I would say.
Okay, so you're in agreement, and the team one, team two makes sense to you? I mean, maybe it does.
I think it's a shuffling of players that kind of I would do between the both teams, because you look at Surrey, I get what the concept is. It's like put the best players on the or the best players of the last 25 years on team one, and then make it team two, right? Yeah. But Surrey was really good because he played with Andrei Markov. And he only got most of those goals because Andrei Markov was there.
Okay,
just like Mike Commissar got his contract because Andrei Markov.
Fair enough. Then give me a name. Who replaces him on the list to you? I mean, if you're gonna poo-poo him like that, I have a name ready to come in.
Oh, yeah, I get that, but I have to think about it.
Very fast to throw shade, but not so fast to back it up, are you? I'm just messing with
you. For me, it's just, I mean, I don't want to say it's a sad 25 years, but I mean, like, you look at this list and it's like kind of uninspiring. I mean, Vito's head might explode. There's no elite players on this list at forward position. No point of game players at all.
Not true. There's Alex Kovalev.
Was he a point of game player with the Canadiens?
He got 84 points in 82 games.
I think he's the last one.
With the Canadiens. Okay, wow. So one, but that doesn't count as elite, right? It doesn't count as elite according to
Alex Kovalev was an elite hockey player.
Okay, well, look, I mean,
at the very least, based on my description on the last episode, Alex Kovalev could have been elite, but he took nights off, so he was a superstar player.
This is not my question.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Not my question.
I mean, no. But to be fair, I mean, I think I would have moved Plekanec and flipped Pacioretty and Plekanec. I think Pacioretty meant more. I mean, I know people love Plekanec more, and Pacioretty was a love-hate guy.
That's a bold take.
Pacioretty was the captain of this team. He scored something like 200 and something goals in a fraction of the games that the Plekanec played for the Canadiens. I think that would have been my only change, to be honest.
But the things that Plex did for the Habs, Thomas Turtleneck.
I get it, but you're talking about like a super team. Like if you put like the 1950s Canadiens quarter century team, it would be
Well,
put this team
yeah.
to shame. And it's just you look at the other teams too, and what they've had in 25 years, and you kind of look at the Canadiens. It's kind of, I mean, the fact that like Jose, I mean, all due respect to Jose Theodore, he was a great goalie. He had an amazing 1 year. But man, how did he make this team? Like, I get
an amazing 1 year.
Well, in 25,
superstar goalie for a
it's
long
25
time.
years, and the Montreal Canadiens. Okay, well, when it comes to goaltending, would you have put Halak or Huet ahead of?
No, probably not.
Theodore?
But
you don't, and that's the sad part.
But they did have Carey Price in their defense. They did have Carey Price for a long stretch of those 25 years. So
over 10.
There's
over
just
10
no maybe time for somebody else to come in and take those reins. But I mean, it's okay. It's a quarter century list. It's there. It'll do the job.
Okay, listen, that's perfectly fine. I mean, one thing that I did want to just to kind of ask. It seems as though the number one thing on this list that bothered most people was the position of Weber and PK. A lot of people were making arguments to say those should have been flipped, that PK should have been on team 1 and Weber on team 2. And if you take away Weber's C, and if you take away Weber being the guy that was there when they went to the cup run, PK was more. I'm just giving you the devil's advocate. PK gave you more points as a Montreal Canadien. PK was probably the more exciting player as a Montreal Canadien. PK won the Norris with the Habs. There's arguments. I'm just curious if that neither of you mentioned it, so I presume you're cool with it the way it
I'm
is.
cool with it because when you look at Shea Weber and the person that the player that he was, is that, and what it seems like that culture that he helped build is still has transcended to the players that he has that are there now, and they're all kind of like still adopting that and whatnot. And at the same time, Shea Weber was still very productive with the Montreal Canadiens. He didn't get you up off your seat the way PK Subban was able to do it. But with PK Subban at the end, especially that last 1 or 2 years, there was a lot of rumors and turmoil and things going on in the behind the scenes, whether they were true or not. Fact of the matter is, there was some smoke there. So,
do you think that factored into where they're positioned on the teams to cut you off?
I would say that one guy was basically Canada, represented Canada and and he came to the Montreal Canadiens and he got to a Stanley Cup final with him. The other one, they did not.
Okay.
I like PK Subban. I was a big fan of him. I think that the history would be a lot different had he stayed with the Canadiens. I think I'm on record for saying that his will to play hockey just evaporated after that. So it's tough to evaluate a trade like PK versus Shea Weber because it's just it's different histories, right? It's different timelines of what could have happened. But at the end of the day, I think Shea Weber belongs on team 1. I think he was a captain of this team, as you said, and I think that he played a lot of important hockey, and he brought them to a cup final. And you're right, he represented Canada. Like Shea Weber was. I mean, I don't want to use this word, but I mean, he was a top-notch guy in terms of a defenseman, and it was a jewel in their cap to have acquired him.
And I get it if people don't agree with it, and people want to talk about PK should have been there as number 1. I get it. I get both sides of the fence.
PK brings the emotion out of people, right? It's very, 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 very hard to argue against emotion and passion, and it's fine if you wanted to switch. I wouldn't, if it was the other way around, I wouldn't be fighting it either, but I think they got it right.
Okay. Very good. Very good. I mean, listen, I'm in the same boat for what it's worth. I maybe would have switched PK and Weber, although I don't find it as egregious as some people are making out to be. I think at first glance, seeing PK and Markov together on that first one, I would have been like, oh yeah,
but
I remember that.
You know what?
I don't know.
But man, would it have been crazy to really? That's the question. I would have loved to have seen a longer stretch of like Markov with Weber. Like I would have loved to have seen that.
Wow. That's
if Markov was able to do what he did with the Surreys of the world and the commissarics of the world. Imagine what somebody as talented as Shea Weber was, what he could have done. And at the same time, I think a lot of people that are still okay with Shea Weber being on team 1, the guy literally played decimated. He was held up by bandages by the end, and he was still able to
listen. I think a bigger reason why he's there is the career, not just with the Habs, which is odd because it's about the Canadiens. But that being said, like you said, Vito, he put up a lot of points. He did very well while he was here. And I think ultimately that cup run is what cements him there, because it's the only one they've had in the last 25 years. And he was the captain of the team when that happened. So you got to probably give him the notch for that. But okay. Curious. And of course, as always, guys, let us know in the comments your take on this. I know it's a couple days now removed, but let us know what you think about the two. Would you have made any changes? Would you want to see some name up there, some obscure name that you're like, no, this guy was better? Should Kovalchuk be up there for his 17 games that he played? I don't know. You let us know in the comments below. I don't know. I'm just throwing out a name, something like that. Anyways, let's dive into the next thing I want to talk to you guys about, because this is especially after last game against Detroit. I think a lot of people are clamoring about this one. Does Montreal have a goalie controversy again? Is this happened? Is it a thing for real, or is this a thing that people are saying because it's just fun to talk about? You got Dobes, who's 5-0. He's out. He looks fantastic, poised. It's incredible what this guy is doing, right? He's had 5 starts, 5 victories. Did the last one, I believe, in overtime, where that game you can make an argument probably was his weakest game during the regular periods, but overtime was like, wow, just wow, amazing. Then you got Monty. Monty, I think, has already, I think I just read this stat either today or yesterday. He has already tied his career best in wins for a season already now. So that's showing you how well he's been playing. But he's been the goalie in net for when they've lost against Chicago a couple weeks ago, against Detroit just the other night. What are you saying? Is there a controversy, or is it all hogwash?
I don't know if controversy is the right word, but they definitely have a goalie that's pushing Montembeault. And look, Monty, you can argue, he stole he's stolen games he's had a stellar season. Even this week, he stole a game, or I guess, I think it was Tuesday, or I forget my days, but he's definitely proven himself this year to play. Dobes, it's a small sample size, but he looks absolutely stellar in net. He looks absolutely composed, and he looks like he's absolutely comfortable, and just his quotes after the game and how he talks about the Bell Center crowd. And it's just, he's going to be pushing Montembeault. I wouldn't say controversy. I think they have a good problem. I think they have 2 goalies playing well. Monty definitely has his faults. And again, I've spoken about them before. I don't think Montembeault is as polished, and, he's definitely improved, but is he a long-term number 1 goaltender? I still have my doubts. And there's games as close as the Detroit game where you can fault him for goals and his positioning and how he tracked the puck. There's definitely holes in his game. So it's as if they're waiting for someone to come in and push him. And I think Dobes could be that guy. But I think for now it's a good problem to have, because it's not as if Montembeault is playing bad or poorly. I think that you can roll with either of them and be comfortable. And it'll be cool to see what you got. And you just, at this point, I think you play with the hot hand. I don't think there's any controversy. A goalie controversy to me was Price and Halak. That is a definition. You have a pedigree goaltender who's going to be the foundation of your team. You drafted him very high, and all of a sudden the stud comes in who's not supposed to be as good as he is, and who probably doesn't project to be as good, and obviously didn't. But he's coming in and he's making a case to absolutely steal the crease from your guy. That is a bona fide goalie controversy. I think the job is still there to be had. So controversy, I wouldn't say so, but I definitely think you play the hot hand, and I don't think you have any fear of going back to Dobes like you did with Primo.
Monty's played a lot of hockey in the last little while. He's played a lot of hockey. He's had to cover and play games where Primo should have probably gone in and give Monty a bit of a break, and he didn't have that chance. He couldn't get that break because they just couldn't trust or rely on Primo to get the win and whatnot. So now Dobes comes in, and it's a small sample size, but he's showing that, okay, he can play the game. He can be a gamer and battle for the puck and have the poise and whatnot. And to Dave's point, maybe it puts a bit of pressure on Monty, or at least it gives. I don't want to look at it as it puts pressure on Monty, but I'm going to look at it more as it helps Monty to get a break and whatnot. It's up to Marty St. Louis now to just, one, play the hot hand, and two, say it's okay to sit Monty for 2 games or 3 games and let Dobes do what he has to do and get the wins, right? Because right now, again, you said it. He's been playing. He already tied his record or whatever you want to call it, tied the amount of wins he's played that he's gotten so far. So the way I see it is just that this guy just needs a bit of rest and needs to just chill a little bit. And I don't think he's got a problem with doing that. He was, when Jake Allen was there, he was fine, and it is what it is. It's just, I think he's a pro, and they could do that and just let Monty rest it out for a little bit. And I think, he's going to go to the Four Nations and all that. We don't know if he's going to play there, but that's going to be some more hockey if he does play. So he's not going to get the break that some of the other players and teams and teammates and whatnot that are going to get. So that's how I see it. I don't see it as a controversy per se. I see it as more as the Montreal Canadiens finally have 2 goalies that they can throw in at each game, and it's going to give them some form of success or a chance to win.
Let me pick up on something that you said, and this is the exact follow-up question I wanted. And like Dave alluded to, you have a hot hand. And so I don't think you have a hotter hand than Dobes right now at 5-0. Is it a crazy notion?
In the NHL, but sure.
Well, okay, whatever. The two hottest hands, but one is a backup goalie presently on this team. Is it unfathomable to consider that they play Dobes back-to-back games? That he gets multiple starts in a row.
Because I want to, but do it. I want to see if he can do that. Because it's one thing to be able to put him in a game and then he gets 3 nights off and then he's fresh again and he comes back and he plays another game. No, try playing him back to back, or better yet, it doesn't have to be back to back, but in the sense of like back to back nights. But if there's a game on like Thursday and then there's a game on Saturday,
back to back nights. No, that's what I mean. Like,
go. He won that last game, or even if Dobes lost, but he kept the team in it, and it just happened to be a overtime. Throw him right back in. It's not a slight to Monty or telling Monty that, hey, you know what, we don't believe in you. We're giving you the rest. We want to see if what this guy can do. If he happens to go on a heater and the streak continues, we're gonna play the hot hand.
Well, let me paint a picture then, just real fast, because where they're sitting right now with this wild card race is insane. It's a super tight wild card race between like 6 or 7 teams. It's really like remarkable what the East has happened right now. So if you play Dobes next game, and he plays really well and they get the win, you go back to Monty, they lose. You go back to Dobes, they win. They go back to Dobes now for the second time. First time in his career, he's going to do games one after another. He wins again. Do you keep riding Dobes if you're the team?
Yes. Why? Ottawa many years ago didn't ride the Hamburglar. That guy kept going until the streak ended. You know what I mean?
Hamburglar.
You know what I mean?
Habs legend.
You just run it, especially when it's that tight. You need the wins. You need the 2 points. And I think it was Eric Engels who said it on another podcast. But the Montreal Canadiens have a strong chance to make the playoffs because if they've got 15 games against division rivals remaining at the time of whenever he said that. If they could play above 500 for those 15 games, they have a strong chance to make the playoffs.
But that aside, man, like they're in a rebuild. Like Montembeault is not locked in as your number 1 goaltender going forward. I don't think anybody has him. Oh yeah, they're set in goal. They don't have to move. They're good. It's there to be had, that position. So you not only do you ride with a hot hand, but you have to be strategic about it. If you see Dobes, forget the hot hand. Even if he loses a couple, it doesn't disqualify him from getting the starts in the next game either. I think that at the end of the day, you have to see who's playing better hockey and who's giving you the best chance to win. And it's not necessarily always about wins or losses. And you don't have to feel bad and be like, oh, look, Monty, Dobes won 2 games in a row. That's why he's playing this 3rd game in a row. Like, you don't have to explain yourself, man. He's not a guy who's been here for 10,000 years and who's locked into that number 1 position. I'm sorry, but he's not. He's not that type of goaltender. The position is still to be had there, and a smart team should be evaluating this, and I'm pretty sure that's what they're doing. So in my mind, I don't think that, you have to explain yourself and be like, and feel bad for Monty. Like, at this point, they're neck and neck, and you have to figure out who's going to get the start.
Monty is the number 1 goalie on the Montreal Canadiens because Dobes just came in, and
right,
he's the number 1 goalie. But just because he's got the title of number 1 goalie doesn't mean you got to feel bad if you bench him or if you sit him out. You don't. Even if Primo was still there, and if Primo was going on a hot streak, play Primo. It doesn't matter. You're winning the game. You're trying to win the games, and when the standings are this tight, you go with whoever's going to give you the better chance to win. And it's not that necessarily that Monty can't give you the chance to win. He can. The game against Detroit, it was the whole team didn't play well, but there was at least 2 goals that Monty should have had.
Yeah,
And
I
had
agree.
he made
makes it
those
a 2-2
saves,
game.
that would have been a 2-2 game, and we'd have been talking about overtime, and it would have been stealing a point or whatever the case may be. But with that being said, he also made 2 huge saves at the end of the game to keep them in it. But that wasn't enough because he let in those 2 goals. But with that being said, doesn't mean Dobes could have let in some bananas.
Exactly.
But
I'm
Dobes right
just
now
curious.
seems to be a guy that's got the momentum going. He's calm. The whole team just seems to play a little differently in front of him. They're just, he's just let him go at it. And this whole like one game yes, one game no, rarely works with goalies. Goalies tend to need a couple of games to get that momentum going, keep the hot hand going. Carey Price was actually a goalie that was like that. When you sat him out for a couple of games, or if he wasn't playing a couple of games, it took some time and he'd get back into it. And then all of a sudden he'd go on these stretches where you're looking at Jesus Price.
Yeah. So let me ask you this then. Let me do the quick follow-up for this one before we move on to the next topic here. You both would be okay if he were to do it. Now, if I put you in the position, would you make that decision now and give him the next couple of games to go and run on?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. I think that I want to see what they have in Dobes. And if he continues playing well, and I'm not opposed to if he has a bad game, you go back to the other one. It's not about the result for me. It's about how they're playing and how the team plays in front of him as well. It's one of the hugest components of being a goaltender that's underrated. It's how the team plays in front of you. And so, that's what I want to see. I'm okay with doing it now. And there's no sense in waiting and just waiting it out and wait till Monty has a bad stretch to put him in. I think, as Vito said, he's played a ton of games, man. Like, just give him the rest if you want. Give Dobes, see what you got in Dobes, and move on from there.
I think at a point he was on pace to play like 65 games.
Yeah, he was going to be one
he was
of
like
the
65 or 70
goalies
games. It's ridiculous for a guy who people were questioning whether he's even a number 1 goalie or not. All of a sudden, he's playing 65, 70 games.
Well, someone's got to do the job. I mean, he doesn't have to be an official number.
I get it. Like to me, Monty is a number 1 goalie in today's NHL. He is. Is he the elite number 1 goalie? Is he the Carey Price? No, he's not at that level. He's not even close to a Carey Price. But he's a number 1 goalie.
Fair. I gotta switch gears, and I think that's an apt sort of segue because the next person I want to talk about is Emil Heineman, who infamously is on IR because he got hit by a car over in Utah a little while ago. Wild story, but thankfully he's okay, jokes aside. One thing I want to ask you guys about Heineman is ever since he has had that accident and has been on the IR, I feel like you can see a noticeable difference in the bottom 6. Like, it's noticeable. Forget the fact that you put Pezzetta in there, and I like Pez. I think he's great, but has that not been good for him? Granted, he's been in the stands for 20, 30 games this season or whatever.
He's getting 3 to 5 minutes.
Brutal.
Well, that's part of the problem.
Right, and they brought up Owen Beck also. Whatever, was unnoticeable. He's already sent back down. So is Emil Heineman, I guess how I want to phrase it is, how important in your opinion, is Emil Heineman to this bottom 6? Is this a coincidence that him being out and the bottom 6 kind of looking off, or was he really that guy?
Well, at the start of the season, we were like, okay, Emil Heineman's going to make the roster. We knew what his scouting report was. We were like, oh, we hope he hits his ceiling. Then he comes here, and you see what he's capable of doing once he, started to warm up and whatnot. And he's a guy that's fast. He's strong. He creates space. He's got a wicked shot, and he was using all of these tools. Yeah. So it's like, and then we started talking about, okay, this is a guy that he's a very good third liner, and could jump up into the second line when there's injuries and whatnot. But you have a guy who's very versatile, who can provide some secondary scoring. Is not a problem in any way whatsoever, and he's a coach's dream in the sense because he's also defensively responsible, and he's just a bull on the ice. So now the whole team adjusted, or at the bottom 6 adjusted with him there, and being able to know, okay, this guy could pot a couple of goals and create the space, and then him and Anderson are kind of playing a similar style, just that Anderson's more north-south, and his IQ is not at the level of Heineman. But you have that extra tool there. You do, and now they don't have it, and they're going to have to readjust. But even now, the bottom six is still very solid, all things considered, even with Heineman out. Thankfully,
Yeah.
Heineman's injury is not, oh my God, long term. But I really, really liked what we were getting from Heineman, and I'm looking forward to him coming back to be able to do what he was doing, and hopefully he picks up where he left off.
Yeah, and look, Heineman, we're arguing that he should have seen top 6 minutes when Laine was injured at the beginning. I would have liked to seen him there. He absolutely invigorated the bottom six. I think that he provides something that the Canadiens absolutely needed in the bottom six. And at the end of the day, when you have Michael Pezzetta playing, and Michael Pezzetta is a fan favorite, he's a cool guy, he's funny. He brings an element, that type of element that's a fan favorite type of element. At the end of the day, I don't know if there's a spot on this team for him going forward. And it's just brutal because I don't think Marty St. Louis thinks the same. And when he's in the lineup, he plays like 2-3 minutes. So it just disrupts the chemistry. You have people, double shifting. You have the lines being disrupted. It's not a bizarre choice because I guess their hands are tied with the injury, but you could see the impact right away. Not only losing Heineman's skill, but what the ripple effect down that bottom six does. So absolutely, I think Emil Heineman is an absolute stellar piece of this bottom six, and I think that him being out is a huge problem, and they need to figure it out sooner rather than later. I don't think Pezzetta is the answer, and I'm sorry to say because I like him, but he's just absolutely not.
Even in the Detroit game, Pezzetta should have been playing with his line, and they just double shifted Caulfield.
Yeah,
And the thing is, the other thing too about Pezzetta, again, fan favorite. We like him. He's a nice guy. He did something. He added some toughness a little bit and grit last year and whatnot. But even the 3 to 5 minutes, he went 2 games in a row where he got penalties in those 3 to 5 minutes that he was playing.
Can't be doing that.
If you're gonna hurt the team on the ice, maybe not in the room, because apparently they like him and all. But if you're gonna hurt the team on the ice and you're on the fourth line. Is it really worth having you in the lineup? Like you're there to be a body at this point. That's it. You're just there to fill in the requirements to have a roster player. And at this point, I'm pretty sure they've even considered playing 7 defensemen and scratching him.
So to be clear, right? Because we're deviating because it's Pezzetta that replaced Heineman for the most part, but
it's too much of a drop off.
It's not a
bashing of Pezzetta thing.
But it's
too much of a drop off.
Is it Heineman and the skill that he brings and what he's doing was elevated the bar so much that they have a problem because there is no reserve that can do it? Or is it more than that? Is it more?
It's both. It's more. It's definitely
both.
Okay. So we're all in agreement. Heineman is a probably very underrated player. Because,
absolutely.
People were giving him his flowers for the goals that he was scoring, but I think overall we're seeing this guy really solidifies that bottom six and made it what we were all talking a couple weeks ago, if not months ago, that this might be one of the more dangerous bottom sixes in the NHL. I think he has an enormous part to play in that, and him being out of it has made that very clear to at least myself. So we're all in agreement.
Well, with him in the roster, the way he was playing, basically dropped Gallagher down or dropped Armia down, and all of a sudden you're looking at that fourth line, you're like, they're expensive fourth liners, but they're NHLers.
Agreed.
They're not tweeners. They're NHLers, and again, Heineman brought a different element to that third and sometimes fourth line. To Dave's point, we were even talking about should they give him a look on the top six when Laine was out.
Yeah.
We can't say that about Pezzetta. If you want to put Pezzetta in the top six, Montreal's got a problem.
No, you fire your coach if that happens. All due respect. But okay, so we're all in agreement, and we hope that he gets back in the lineup soon because he's sorely missed. A final little thing here, gents. I got a little game for you guys to play. Simple one. It's a Spitfire question thing. It's choose one or the other. I don't want your big, long-winded answers. I want gut reaction. You just tell me which one you pick. It's 2 options. Option A or option B. Very simple. That's it. What? You getting live, or we got something live here?
Oh my God! If this is true, guys, massive blockbuster in the NHL.
Okay, give it to me before my little thing here. What happened?
Mikko Rantanen is headed to Carolina.
Oh,
no way!
Oh,
no way!
Frank
sorry for the we're doing this live, guys, right now. Yeah, it looks like
Yeah,
like
he is. Friedman confirmed.
Yeah, Necas plus is what we're seeing here. Wow. Okay, well listen, more to come about that one because right now it's happening as we're doing our recording, so we can't really speculate too much. But okay, that's wild if that happens.
It's a complex three-way deal between Carolina,
Say Montreal,
Chicago, and Colorado.
boo. So Taylor Hall from before, actually, we were talking before
He
we started
goes to
recording.
Colorado.
Looks like he's going. Okay, wild. We'll talk after the episode about that, boys. Which kind of now I feel you squeeze the life out of my little game. Hold on. Let's get into it.
Live reaction of that
Yeah,
blockbuster, massive deal. Holy,
that's crazy. Okay.
I just read the best tweet too. Hearing the Jays were very close in on.
Oh yeah. Oh man,
that was good.
Darren Dreyer
Classic.
credit to Frank Saravalli for being the first to actively report Rantanen to Carolina as part of a multi-team trade.
Wow, that's huge.
Wow.
I can't believe. Anyways, we're getting super distracted here, but I can't believe Colorado just did.
I don't think we don't. Your game.
We're doing it. I put it down. We're doing it real fast. We got to bring this one to a close. Again, 2 options. Pick one. First reaction. Don't give me your big veto long-winded answers. I just want which one. Okay, here we go. Ready? Fighting in hockey. Stay or go?
Stay.
Go.
Interesting. Should home jerseys be white or keep the whites for away?
Away.
Away.
Okay. Next expansion team. Quebec City, Atlanta, or Houston?
What we
Your
want or what?
preference. Your preference.
Well, always Quebec City to me.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna go Quebec City.
Very
Atlanta
good.
again.
It is what it is. Who would win in a fight? 10 Arbor Jack guys or 30 Cole Caulfields?
I think
Arbor Jack guys.
I think one Arbor Jack guy would win.
Okay. Okay.
Come on.
I'm just asking. Last one. Put you guys on the ice. What do you think you are more capable of doing? Scoring 10 goals into an empty net from the opposite side of the ice with no goalie, or in 20 seconds, or score 1 goal in 10 minutes on an AHL goalie?
Like we just have the puck continuously. There's nobody else on the ice, just us.
Nobody else on the ice. You have 10 minutes to score on an AHL goalie.
I could score on an AHL goalie.
Mike.
I might have already.
Oh, okay.
I might have scored on an NHL goalie.
Or 10 goals across the ice in 20 seconds, unlimited shots that you can do in 20 seconds.
I think I could do that too.
I got the empty netter.
Empty netter? You can do both of them, Dave?
I think I could do both.
I got the empty netter.
Okay, that was it. I mean, this
I
whole
like
Rantanen thing took the wind out of my sails there, but that was it. Those are my
I like
questions.
it. Those are fun.
All right. Well, listen, that brings us to the end of this wild episode. Crazy stuff happening in the NHL. Hopefully by the time this comes out, we'll have a bit more information about that Rantanen thing, and we'll see what's up. Maybe we'll make a short and just a quick update about it because it's happening live during our recording. Otherwise, let us know, please, as usual, in the comments below, your take on any things we brought up tonight about the quote-unquote goalie controversy, about the quarter century teams, all that kind of stuff, and about Heineman, if you so are interested. And yeah, as always, like, subscribe if you haven't. Thanks very much for watching and listening. And until next time, for Dave and Vito, I'm Matt, and this was Get Pucked.